So recently I reviewed the TSPROF Kadet Pro, a super expensive high-end premium knife sharpening system, a guided knife sharpening system that many people consider to be the bee's knees, the end-all be-all of mid-range high-end knife sharpening goodness. But I had a few things that I did not like about it. I did not like the fact that you can't really sharpen small knives with the stock setup, and I wish that I didn't have to use the little Allen wrench to tighten everything down.
I'm tired of this, Grandpa.
That's too damn bad!
Thankfully, TSPROF has some solutions. Because in my hands today, I've got two absolutely must-have add-ons to the TSPROF Kadet Pro, and we're going to talk about both of them. Let's go ahead and get into the quick clamps and the single clamp. Let's go. All right, guys, so what I have in front of me from a top-down view is the TSPROF Kadet Pro. I don't have any clamps on here right now because I wanted to talk about both of the different clamp options for the TSPROF Kadet Pro. And I've got to say that both of these are clamps that honestly, I think that this model should come with from the start. It's an expensive knife sharpening tool and it's really, really effective, but you really get the most out of it once you branch into these two different clamps. And after having experienced both of these different clamp options, which are optional, remember, the TSPROF Kadet Pro comes with these standard. And yes, you can get the job done with this set of clamps that comes with its stock from the factory. These work totally fine. I have sharpened several knives with these stock clamps, and I can tell you that there is absolutely no issue using these whatsoever, but these are both big improvements for some specifically different reasons. Now, I'm going to start off with the most obvious. This is the single clamp. Yeah, the single clamp. It might look a little funky, but it actually goes on the TSPROF the exact same way that you would put on the other clamps. You know, you screw it in from behind here. You can adjust it left or right. You want to make sure to center this little center dial right there as best you can. I highly suggest just popping these guys in a little loose leaf style so that you can actually move it back and forth as you do this, and just adjust it so that this knob is reaching the center of that plate. Now, once you do that, you'll notice that this still, of course, features the hex wrench, the Allen wrench, whatever you want to call it. You still have to go in here and manually unscrew and untighten these bolts, and that will allow you to ultimately put the spine of your blade right there, and voila, Bob's your uncle, Fan is your aunt, and you're off to knife sharpening. Now, the reason why this is important is because to use the other clamps, you have to have a blade that is long enough. Now, specifically with pocket knives, that can be a little different. You might notice some influencers will take the blade out completely of the knife, and that's because it gives them a little bit more spine to work with on knife sharpeners like this. But with this single clamp, it actually eliminates the need to do that. And this is also the less expensive option of both of the ones that I'm showing on the desk today. In fact, it's going to be coming in at $76, but what this does is it allows you to sharpen all of your knives, including the small ones. For example, this is a Buck Range Pro, and it's a small knife. Now, you'll notice right here, you actually have the ability to put it in here, and you'll be able to reach the entirety of that edge, unless, of course, that thumb stud gets in the way. But my point is that it allows you to sharpen your even shortest knives. Yes, you could do that. That's great. Of course, on a knife like this, if the thumb stud does get in the way, you just go ahead and, remove it. I will say from the start, I'm not the biggest fan of having to use the Allen key to tighten this up. It's the same issue that I have with these. It just kind of feels a little clunky to have to use an Allen key to go through and do that. But honestly, it's not that big of a deal. And it is nice being able to go ahead and hit even the shortest of pocket knives with this setup. TSPROF has done an amazing job making sure that all of their accessories, whether they're stock format or optional after the fact, they are very well built and they're very quality quality, and everything feels like high quality machining. Of course, I've already gotten soap water and metal dust all over this one, but that's because honestly I've been using it already. In fact, I've used it to sharpen this guy. This is the Spyderco Mule Team in Magnamax, and I sharpened this one specifically because I wanted to go ahead and do some cut testing with it. Now, all that being said, for $75, I believe that if you have a pocket knife collection that you're looking to sharpen with this, this is pretty much a must. Now, some people might say, well, I mean, is it really necessary? Because you could, of course, just put the blade in one of these single clamps, right? And then flip it over to the other side, and it's the same thing, right? Well, not exactly. And you know what? I'm going to go ahead and show you exactly what I mean. And I'm going to showcase this by attaching one of these really awesome quick clamps. These quick clamps are sweet, and I've got to say, I wish that they were just standard. Like, they should use these standard because they do the same thing as these stock clamps, but much more effectively and much more intuitively, because you don't have to use an Allen key to tighten this guy down. No, you just use this lever right here, and the lever allows you to turn it, give it more operating space, and then once you've reached the right spot, you can of course tamp it down, and it will start to lock into place using the pressure of the blade against these clamps to, of course, lock it into place. And that's really freaking cool. However, it does not necessarily work that way for the single clamp option. So we're going to go ahead and attach just one of these, and I'm going to show you how easy it is to attach a knife to it. No Allen key needed. What you want to do is you want to start screwing this down already. And remember, you want to have enough space left over so that when you go to clamp this back, it's not creating too much pressure, because that's going to bring the clamps down a little bit further. You want to have some, but not too much. And so once you get it to where you want it, you're just going to go ahead and simply latch that into place. And if you notice any movement, that would tell you that it's probably not as solid as it could be. So maybe just a little bit more. Yeah, for all intents and purposes, there it is. So why can't you just use a single clamp like this instead of having to get an apparatus like this? Well, it comes down to the simple fact that when you have it on only one side like this, it's going to create a difference in angles when you flip the knife around to the other side. So once it's flipped over here, it's actually going to be sharpening at a different angle than it is when it's sharpening over here, and that's because it's only attached at one point on one side of the platform. Well, can you prove that? Well, yes, I can. So here I am with my angle finder, and we're just going to imagine that there's a stone on here, and we're going to measure the angle. 47.7. And once we flip it around to the other side, 19.3. So as you can see, there's quite a bit of difference in the angle. And yes, because this is already tuned to be set up on the side, it's not reading the exact angle of the sharpening mechanism itself, but it is showing the difference in angle that you would expect if you tried to sharpen a single knife like this. So that level of discrepancy will mean that you have one edge bevel on one side at one angle and one edge bevel on the other side at a completely different angle. And so I digress. If you're trying to sharpen a smaller knife with the TSPROF Kadet Pro, because you're not going to get accurate and consistent results by just using a single clamp like this, you're going to want to spend the extra $76 and pick up one of these single clamps. And now we're on to the quick clamps. Now these quick clamps are expensive. They are coming in at $140 for a set. But let's be clear about one thing. They are absolutely gorgeous, and they definitely improve on the stock design. It's nice that you don't have to use an Allen key to go ahead and operate these, but you do of course have to have a knife that is big enough to place within this platform. So I would say that this is great if you are sharpening a lot of kitchen knives, a lot of chef knives, or if you just have a lot of pocket knives with a longer blade. For example, on this Geoknife Phantasm, the blade is pretty much close to a 4-inch blade, so it should definitely be long enough to fit in this setup. Once you've determined the right amount of torque that you need to have on here. You just go ahead and tamp down on these levers and it holds the knife in place perfectly. There is no wiggle or jiggle, and you can of course add more leverage or take more leverage away just by actuating these levers right here, and that's fantastic. They really are the quick clamps, and they really are of course going to be an upgrade to these stock clamps right here. Are they worth the extra $140? I would say that if you really want to trick out your TSPROF Kadet Pro, you might want to go ahead and just pick up a set of these. I don't know about you, but for me, I have a hard time keeping track of these Allen keys right here. So having the option to, of course, do this is really, really nice. Some people will think that it's a little bit overkill on the price. Some people will think that it's absolutely necessary to have this level of flexibility on your high-end sharpening system from the start. But ultimately, at the end of the day, only you can be the judge of that. Now, you might notice that there is a little bit of a chip here at the end right there, and that is because I learned the hard way that you don't want to use a too small blade with these clamps, because if you do, it won't have enough length, enough height to get past this edge. So when you bring the sharpening stone down, it could of course create a potential to knock off the edge of your very expensive clamps. So that is the one downside, is that you do of course have to have a blade that is long enough to meet these standards. So given that my channel is mostly about pocket knives, if you're here mostly for pocket knives, the easy answer is that the accessory that you must have for the TSPROF Kadet Pro is going to be this guy right here at 76 bucks, which is also not cheap, but it is well made, and it really takes this to the next level. If you are sharpening bigger knives or longer knives or big old kitchen knives, then these quick clamps are going to be a must-have as well. Now, that isn't to say that this sharpening system isn't expensive already, but if you are of course trying to make this the absolute best that it can be, at the end of the day, it really doesn't get better than this, and these accessories are going to be options that make it really, really good. My experience with the TSPROF products so far has ultimately been a good one. My takeaways from utilizing this system is this: it is of course a very expensive system. You will pay a lot for it. However, what you will get is very tight tolerances and a very accurate, quick sharpening on your knife edges. That's because whenever you have any variation at all when you're sharpening a knife, it affects how clean and how quickly that edge bevel forms an apex and therefore forms a burr. So the faster and more accurately it can hit your edge bevel, the less stone you use up to get there, the less metal you take off of your knife that's unnecessary, and the better the edge that you get. But guys, let me know what your thoughts are. Do you have a TSPROF Kadet Pro? And if so, do you have the single clamp, the quick clamps? Do you just roll with the stock Allen key clamps? Let me know what your thoughts are in the comment section down below. And if you want to see some more awesome knife and EDC content, go ahead and click on one of the videos that pops up next.